Subscribe to both of my YouTube channels, Sharon Winbush and Goddess Sharon. Turn on notifications and share videos globally. Thank you.
Sharon Winbush said something that was crazy. She said, my wife, now how you going to speak for my wife? My wife was left alone in the room with R. Kelly for 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Wow. Let's fact check the mistruths you spoke in your last interview. You said that your daughter went to the Funk Fest. She was 18 years old. She went with her 15-year-old sister. You said you asked for 3 tickets. KG told you he only had 2 tickets. That's not true. KG was Robert's tour manager, which meant he didn't get in the concert with tickets. He got in with his pass. So anyone that came in with him entered the same way that Rob would have entered, in the back of the stadium through a security entrance. And since he was the boss as tour manager, he can take as many people with him as possible. He didn't use tickets to get Joy and her sister in. He used his pass, which he could have taken as many people as he wanted into the Funk Fest with him. They weren't sitting in seats. They were sitting on the stage. So there was no assigned seating there. So you're caught in that lie. The next lie you told was Joy went to the concert with her younger sister at Funk Fest. Then Joy and your wife went to California and met with him, and they were always together. There are security cameras that show your wife going in to meet with Robert by herself and 3 hours later leaving by herself. So she was not with Joy when she went back there. Maybe she sent Joy back to the hotel. Maybe she left Joy out in the seats, in the seating area. I don't know. But cameras show your wife going in to see Robert by herself and coming out by herself. Then you said those are the only 2 times that your family was around Robert. And yet we see a picture here with Robert, Joy, your younger daughter, her younger sister, and her mother. So this wasn't Funk Fest because only Joy and the middle daughter went. And it wasn't out in California because you said only your wife and Joy went to California. So when was this picture taken? They clearly saw Robert again in Atlanta. They clearly met him somewhere where they all got together and they were able to take a picture together. So your lies can be traced very easily.
Sharon Winbush said something that was crazy. She said, my wife, now how you going to speak for my wife?
KG tried to call you after the concert. You wouldn't answer your phone. You then told your daughter who called you and put KG on the phone that you guys would not be home. And you told KG don't bring them home because you and your wife weren't home and they don't have a key. When he told them that, they both looked at him strange. So you guys set this up. Now you want to play victim. Why would your 18-year-old and 15-year-old daughter not have a key to their house? You told KG you and your wife couldn't go, so you allowed him to take an 18-year-old and 15-year-old, a strange man that you didn't even know. You allowed your 15-year-old daughter, your 18-year-old daughter, to go with a complete stranger. You knew he was R. Kelly's tour manager because R. Kelly was the headliner at the Funk Fest. There was no other artist that KG was working with for that Funk Fest. Because if he's the tour manager on the Black Panties tour and the Buffet tour, that's the only tour that he can work. You're not working with multiple artists. You're working for the headliner, which was R. Kelly.
Sharon Wimbush said something that was crazy. Oh, wow. Wow.
So we have the text messages between you and KG, and the text messages don't lie. We also have the cameras from the venue where it shows your wife going in alone, and it shows your wife coming out 3 hours later alone. The cameras don't lie. We also have all of your various lies that you've told in interview after interview after interview. What you cannot explain is why you let your 15-year-old daughter and your 18-year-old daughter go with a man who was a complete stranger, KG. If he told you he only had 2 tickets, why didn't you go with Joy, or why didn't her mother go with Joy? Your explanation doesn't add up. KG, as tour manager, could have taken 20 people into the concert with him. He had the same access that Robert had because he was the tour manager. So he didn't use tickets. He didn't only have 2 tickets. That's another one of your lies.
Sharon Wimbush said something that was crazy. She said, my wife. Now, how you going to speak for my wife?
So KG told you he could get all of you in because he wasn't using tickets. He was the tour manager. He can get 20 people in if he so chooses. You weren't sitting in the audience. You would have been sitting on the stage. You told KG you and your wife couldn't go. You told KG to keep your daughters because you weren't going to be home and they didn't have a key. You told him you were out having drinks with your wife. And when KG said that to your daughters, they looked at him strange. So there was something going on between you as a family.
Sharon Wimbush said something that was crazy. Oh, wow. Wow.
Tim Savage and his wife know that KG talks to me. They know that KG told me the entire story. They know that the story I put out about them came directly from KG. And that is why JOYCELYN said, by the way, have Kevin Giles contact me since he told you all these things. So she knew that I had details that nobody else had other than KG. That's how she was able to identify very clearly and quickly who's the person that told me. So when I say anything about the Savages, it's coming from the person who they dealt with, who they interacted with. That's why I told you to give your lawyer number. That's why I told you next time you respond to me, give your lawyer information.
Sharon Wimbush said something that was crazy. Oh, wow. Wow.
Your story doesn't add up, Timothy Savage. Clearly, your wife told you that I talked to KG. Clearly, she explained to you what I said to her. And you watch my videos. That's why when you did this interview, you tried to answer every single point that I made. But there's a flaw in your story. Because you said KG said he only had 2 tickets. If that were the case, why would you send your 18-year-old daughter and your 15-year-old daughter? Why wouldn't you go with your 18-year-old daughter? Why wouldn't her mother go with her? Why would you send a 15-year-old with an 18-year-old with a man you don't know. You did not know KG. You didn't know who he was. So you sent your two young daughters, 15 years old, 18 years old, with a complete stranger who said he worked for R. Kelly. He was tour manager for R. Kelly. Why didn't they have a key to their house? Why, after the concert, wouldn't he have drove them directly home? Which says they didn't have a key to get in the house. Why would you need to come get them? That doesn't make sense. So there are holes in your story all over the place. You're saying R. Kelly flew them out to California based on what? Something had to have transpired for R. Kelly to pick up a tab for complete strangers. She didn't meet him when they went to the Funk Fest. She got a number, and based on one phone call, he flew her to California? Robert doesn't operate that way. There was something that had transpired between Joy and Robert, or your wife and Robert, significant enough that he would pick up the tab to fly them to California. So the FBI will get text messages between your wife and R. Kelly, between Joy and R. Kelly, just like they did with Azriel and her mother. So you all have the same blueprint, the same footprints that they had. You said your daughter and your younger daughter, 18 years old and 15 years old, went to a Funk Fest concert with a man they did not know because he only had 2 tickets. And yet you didn't go and your wife didn't go. You didn't need 3 tickets. All you needed to do was go with Joy or her mother go with Joy and leave the 15-year-old at home. So your story doesn't add up. More lies. Then you say you had to go get them at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it took you 2 hours to get there. You got there at 6 in the morning. No concert lasts until 4 o'clock in the morning. Why wasn't KG able to bring them directly home? Why didn't they have a key to the house? Why was it necessary for them to stay with a strange man and you get them 6 o'clock the next morning? That doesn't make sense. So you clearly watched my videos. You clearly have talked to your wife and you know that everything I said came directly from KG, and you're trying to troubleshoot my videos. The problem is you can't troubleshoot the truth.
Sharon Wimbush said something that was crazy. She said, my wife. Now, how you going to speak for my wife?
Wow. R. Kelly had his money seized by the government to pay back taxes, and he has liens against all of his income. To help him fight for his freedom, you can donate money directly to him at the MDC on his commissary books. This is the information. Go to bop.gov to get more information on the method that works for you. You can call the MDC directly yourself to get step-by-step instructions. They can walk you through it, and then you can decide which method works for you. The phone number to the MDC is 718-840-4200. It's Robert Kelly, 09627-035. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, P.O. Box 329002, Brooklyn, New York 11232. You can go to the website bop.gov and make sure that you can see which method, whether it's credit card or mailing a money order or sending money through MoneyGram, which method works best for you. Remember and keep in mind he's going to be transferred probably in a couple of months once his sentencing happens. So any monies that you can send them now, because you know once he's transferred, there's that delay in getting money. So please try to send as much as you can, certainly before his sentencing.